Good evening, everyone. I'm Dianand from Team Femarelle, and we are back with an interesting conversation for all of you today on menopause transition and lifestyle changes. Also, today with us, we have two special guests, experts, in fact, in their own path, and they will be the best to be talking about menopause transitions and lifestyle changes that happen to every woman in the world. And with us today, we have Sneha Mehta. Sneha is a holistic wellness coach. And we have Julie Dandekar, who is a menopause advocate and educator. Hi, Sneha, and hi, Julie. Welcome to our show. And we're really glad to have you here.
Hi, Meghna. Thank you.
So let's start with Sneha. Sneha, often we come across people, when we're talking about menopause, a lot of women, they say that they've heard and they have been advised by the health providers to be active and to inculcate a lot of lifestyle changes when it comes to menopause, when they hit their 40s, a little over that, and they would like to know, how vital are physical activities and what works best to help manage menopause symptoms for them. If you could shine some light, we could begin with that on a great note.
Got it. Thank you for the question, Meghna. So basically, as per the American Academy of Family Physicians, it's advised that, women's hormonal and health risk basically reduce to a great extent if they start working out or if they do any kind of a physical activity. And what happens is with a regular fitness regime, there is a lot lesser risk or reduced risk of maybe like cholesterol, diabetes, or it could also lower the blood pressure. And if we talk specifically about menopause, we have so many symptoms like you have hot flashes, you have night sweats, you have stress and anxiety, and all of that really takes a toll on the body and on the mind. So I think physical activity has been proven that it really allows you to reduce your stress levels and also actually increases your happy hormones and allows you to be a little more active in the body and in the mind. So it's highly, highly recommended.
That's nice. Let's also get Julie with us, and who can actually take us through her personal experience. Hi, Julie. Are you here with us?
Yes, Meghna. So honestly, I think, the menopause experience differs for every woman. There are women who've like really sailed through menopause, and there are women who've got different intensity of, symptoms that they've gone through. So if you actually ask me, I did have a surgical menopause. So obviously it was extreme, but, things like hot flashes or insomnia or fatigue is something that is completely, seems like a part and parcel. Your body suddenly starts feeling very different. You feel like, you are constantly irritated, you can't concentrate, you're not sleeping well. So yeah, that sort of transition happens. It starts happening almost, as soon as you enter your 40s. There's almost like a period of 8 to 10 years before, an average menopause age for women in India is around 45, 46. Globally, it's 50. In India, unfortunately, it's a little lower. But this whole journey or this whole thing starts with your perimenopause, and for like 6 to 8 years, most women are sort of experiencing some or the other symptoms. So yeah, body does start feeling a lot different. You really can't figure out initially that it is menopause, but over a period of time and consistently you are experiencing this and you've ruled out everything else, it's probably your perimenopause. And that's exactly what I was experiencing when I landed into menopause, and that's been the story.
Did you like expect it beforehand? I mean, what did you expect if you knew you were getting into a medically induced menopause? I mean, how was that experience? How did it transform
so
your life?
I was told, I was obviously educated by my doctor that XYZ things would happen. But, like I said, it's been a very different experience. Like for me, I have had hot flashes, but I've never had insomnia, thankfully. So it's very different. I have had times when I'm extremely irritated. I'm going through these weird mood swings, but there are many other symptoms that I've not had. Like I've never been extremely fatigued, and I think that probably could have been because of me being very active, so I don't land up being that fatigued. I was told about it, but yeah, personally, my journey honestly hasn't been that bad. I mean, it has been a transition. And, I think if you really modify your lifestyle to incorporate very minor changes, I've realized, menopause can be sailed through. There are just about probably 10% of women who need to go to a doctor, but most of us others can really manage with food and lifestyle and supplements and things like that, and we can seriously be sorted in this journey, is what I've experienced or I've known from my conversations.
Is yoga part of your routine too?
Yes.
Let's have Sneha talk more about it. In fact, Sneha, you tell us about yoga as an alternative, alternative therapy, if I could mention,
Right.
say that,
Right. I mean, definitely.
Stretching. Does that make flexibility a main criteria to practice yoga? I mean, what are the criteria of yoga? I mean, how does this work for menopause?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can practice yoga just as anybody can stretch, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. And if you look at the literal meaning of stretching, it's like pulling something or, trying to widening your, maybe muscle groups and trying to make yourself feel a little more lighter at the, muscle end when it comes to the body. And you can definitely see similarities here between yoga and stretching. They are somewhat similar, but yoga works at a deeper level. It's just not about the physical aspect that we're talking about here. It's maybe a connect between the body and the mind. You have a lot of mental aspects, like Julie was just mentioning that, thankfully, insomnia wasn't a part of her journey so far. But there are a lot of women who come across insomnia and stress, and yoga is one such tool that we can equip all these women with, in the sense that you have asanas, that is the postures, or some people might want to call it as stretching. But the other aspect of yoga is breathing exercises, that's called as pranayama, and that's more of a mental process. It's like once you start practicing regularly, you start kind of letting go of stress and anxiety, and certain hormones are released in the body, and that phase it becomes a lot more mental aspects. So it's a combination of both physical and mental, and it's not just about the flexibility aspect of it. I mean, anybody can really practice yoga, and I think so yoga is for everyone, in my view.
Well, on that note, Julie, what are the other lifestyle changes that you think women can adapt? Because from your experience, if you could say, why are they important also?
So, most importantly, I think, like Sneha's talking about yoga, yoga, apart from yoga, I do a lot of strength training, and I really recommend that, because women are prone to osteoporosis. Your, bone density starts sort of reducing in your 30s. In fact, 35 on, is, I think every woman needs to start strength training practically. So that's one very important thing I think women need to incorporate in their this thing. So whether it's in the form of yoga, whether it's in the form of body strength training, or whether it's in the form of going to gym, whatever works for anybody, but paying attention to that is really important. Also, what really happens is, around, if you've seen, most women start experiencing weight gain around the 40s, and menopause tends to impact in such a way that your midline starts expanding. So if you've not been really a person who's been fat all your life, but you realize during menopause your waistline starts expanding to a great extent, it just because that's how your hormones make the fat start depositing around your midsection. That's how women are designed to be. But the other reason I think a lot of women start putting on weight around this time is because we start getting less active, but we do not practice portion control to match that. So we are basically consuming a lot of calories, but our body is not burning that amount of calories, and obviously you are going to put on weight. So it's very, very important that at a point in time, you start learning to portion control and eat as active as you are. You can't continue eating the way you were eating in 20 or 30s. That's very important to take care of. Also, basic things like controlling the amount of sugar you're eating or controlling the amount of oil you're consuming. A little bit of consciousness goes a long way, in managing that weight, or in actually managing the amount of burden that you're putting on your body at that point in time. Also, I think supplements work. I have personally seen supplements work, taking care of the food, ensuring that you have enough amount of calcium, vitamin D, because, calcium absorption is greatly dependent on vitamin D. Vitamin C is very important again. And most importantly, soy-based supplements really work to take care of all these sort of symptoms. Omega-3 really works a lot with inflammation. So women who start to experience arthritis, pain, and things like that, incorporating omega-3 really works. So these are very small changes, but they go a long way, in ensuring that you sort of have a balanced lifestyle to take care of, all these symptoms that you might start facing.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of physical, physiological, and emotional changes that women experience, or you for that matter. And Sneha, in that case, they also say yoga is a lifestyle. It's known to tackle many health issues. It's not restricted for just men or women per se. But as a therapy, how does it help with menopause symptoms management? Does it help with the bloating, like Julie mentioned?
Yeah. Hear me now? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, yes, it definitely does. It's basically a lifestyle, not like you do something for about a week or so or a month or so, and then you start seeing the changes. It's something that has to be done on a regular basis, in the sense that, there are symptoms like bloating, or the digestive system is not that great. I mean, the metabolism is also not up to mark, and that's how, you start gaining weight around the waistline, like Judy was mentioning, it keeps expanding and all of that. So it has a lot of, in relation to yoga, it definitely helps in the sense that what happens is your metabolism is much more better when you perform certain postures. I wouldn't only want to talk from a yoga perspective, but in general also, even if it is not yoga, any physical activity for that matter, would help you. Could be also jogging and swimming. But specifically to yoga, it would be certain postures where you're doing to work around your hormonal imbalances. And that could be another reason, for maybe weight gain. Or it could be, your metabolism that you're going to take care of is because, there are hormonal imbalances in the body, and there are certain postures that, you're going to target maybe, which is around maybe the thyroid gland that's, responsible for taking care of your hormones, etc. And then, you're going to do certain postures that's going to take care of the reproductive system. Basically, it has a lot to do with the reproductive system and the abdominal walls. They both are interconnected to one another, right? One can't function without the other. So you need to strengthen your reproductive organs also at the same time, not only while, you are around, like you're saying that, perimenopause, but it's also much more before that, so that you can sail through the whole thing so smoothly and easily, because your uterus walls need to be strengthened. There are other symptoms that are associated to it, right? Endometriosis, other stuffs are also connected to one another. So it's really important that, you strengthen these organs of the body, so that, in the long run, you're able to better manage these symptoms. And there are certain postures also specifically helping certain parts of the body in yoga that could help you manage these symptoms better. And also, parasympathetic nervous system is something that's going to play a very important role. That's basically going to fight, it's opposite of the flight and fight response, which means that there's a lot more need to relax your mind, yeah, relax your body. And that's what yoga does to you in certain postures. You're going to restorative postures, or postures that will help you feel, be connected to earth and all of that. It helps you calm the mind down. It will basically activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for letting go of stress, worry, tension, and all of that. So, I mean, that's how it's going to, help one.
Nice. Julie, have you tried all of this, what you just mentioned, and what does your workout regime include?
So I work out regularly at the gym, but I've like she mentioned, the breathing exercises, and I think pranayama, Brahmari, and Kapalbhati, these three things really help with stress management, because honestly, I think when I'm stressed, my symptoms are extreme, or they are really bad. So, and this is something that I've really observed with, a lot of women that I've worked with, that symptoms get worse. Like you experience a hot flash when you're stressed. And I think, anybody who wants to really find out, they should check out the trigger of the hot flash. Just at a point in time when they know they're going to start experiencing a hot flash, they should just take a step back and see. And it is stress, so it's really very obvious that, the minute you start controlling your stress, a lot of these symptoms come under control. And yes, yoga plays a really big role in, doing that. A basic pranayama is also really, really effective. I've seen that being effective for me. So I completely, resonate with what Sneha's talking about, that it's
What
important.
made you consider trying yoga and pranayama?
So
how did you know that you had to try this? That
so I have been practicing yoga even before the whole menopause thing happened.
Right.
But I was never so regular or never so particular about it back then. I used to go for yoga classes and do it on and off and be very irregular, because obviously at that point in time, it didn't really seem that important. But post menopause, and because my sister's also into yoga a lot, so she was the one who guided me. In fact, post my surgery, and this is something that I tell a lot of women post their hysterectomy, or if they're going through hysterectomy and oophorectomy, is the best way to ease back into a fitness routine is yoga. Best way. I mean, I just did yoga for 2 months before I actually went and hit the gym or started doing something else. So that actually helped, sort of get my body going. So that was the basic thing to sort of start with. So that's highly recommended. So yeah, yoga had been a part of my life, but it is just now when I'm hitting menopause that I'm really realizing that, it makes a great deal of difference when your hormones are all wacky.
Yeah. Sneha, on that note, what are the other activities one can try, like women? I mean, you explain the whole goodness of yoga and all of that. Similarly, what are the other alternative therapies that people could try?
I think yoga might not work for everybody, I mean, it really depends on interest, but people can look for maybe jogging or brisk walking. It could be as simple as swimming or aerobics, maybe, whatever they are comfortable with, because everything is going to activate the body, the system, and it eventually is going to uplift your mood also in a way. And as per research, about I think 6 to 8 weeks of regular practice of any such activity is going to start showing up the benefit. And there was a study in the US wherein 35% of the people started feeling better after like 8 weeks of practice. It was yoga, and they combined a way of multiple formats of physical activities to just check as to how is it working out for people. So it did work for 35% of the people according to a research. So I mean, you have multiple options.
Ah, that's nice. Because also when it comes to yoga, there are many things that we've heard. I don't know if both of you have heard, even, people say there are various criteria. You need to be thin, you need to be flexible, and religion. Does religion have anything to do with it?
I think yoga really retains its roots in maybe contemplation and reflection. Instagram may make it look like that. You have to go for the chanting and do certain stuff, and that's how you can call yourself a yogi. And I think it's basically based on a philosophy where we just focus on maybe the body aspect, and if not that, I think. It's for me, it's as simple as being a better human in life. So I don't think so it's going to attach you, or I would want to associate people to a particular belief when it comes to yoga. Like in my professional experience so far, I've seen people from various aspects of life, and and it's fabulous to see how everybody is changing. And definitely no, I mean, I wouldn't want to associate to any particular religion. It's just a lifestyle change that everybody is trying to look at. And yeah.
All right.
And I mean,
For clarifying that. But Julie, I'd like to know, have you heard any of these bizarre things, or was it bizarre even?
No, not so much of the religious angle, but yes, on the whole flexibility bit. We most things about yoga that are seen, like she mentioned, on social media are people doing like these really fancy asanas, and then you sort of get a complex that I'm not going to be able to stretch this far, and my head is not touching the floor, and I can twist and all of that. And I think yoga practice is very personal. It's up to every person to get the benefit, even if you cannot stretch that much. So yes, I think that's a misnomer. It's not really true. It's a very individual choice, honestly.
Right. But on a serious note, how about diet? I mean, how important is diet when you're practicing yoga, or to manage menopause symptoms or menopause on the whole efficiently?
Is Sneha taking that?
Do you think diet is important? Manage menopause and menopause symptoms, not just symptoms, just the overall phase, how important is diet?
I think diet plays a very important role. It comprises of about 60 to 70% of, like apart from the physical activity, it's going to play a major role, like diet that is rich in maybe fruits, vegetables, whole grains, proteins, and, vitamins, etc. are really important, and calcium also for that matter. Avoiding caffeine and sugar, that's going to go a long way actually. And we know of, dietary supplements, and Femarelle contains, the dietary supplement that Femarelle has. It contains multivitamins like B6, 7, calcium, and DD56 as well. And, that's gonna help you relieve symptoms of hot flashes, maybe bloating as well. So maybe we should, try checking out supplements. And, like Julie has already kind of tried and tested certain supplements. So why not give it a chance maybe?
Julie, tell us about your diet. I mean, how did it influence it managing or helping you manage your journey?
So, like I was telling, I think, I really think menopausal women should not go on any form of diet. I mean, diet is a very abused word, diet means, you stop eating something. And I mean, that's not what really diet is. Diet is about how you're going to, what you are eating, right? And that is what basically is important. And I think the last risks that women in menopause should take is going on a specific keto or something, because this is the time you need the most possible nutrients ever. So there's nothing that you should stop eating. I think you need to eat. And like I mentioned, in the past, portion control is very, very important. These supplements, which are soy based, like the ones I was also talking about, Femarelle, these are important. They sort of substitute the reducing estrogen in your body. These are natural sources of estrogen, which are necessary, because what really happens in perimenopause or menopause is the level of estrogen in your body starts declining. And that's when these hormonal fluctuations happen, and your body is adjusting to that, and hence all these symptoms start showing. So these are really sort of helpful in mitigating them. I wouldn't say your symptoms are going to go away, but to a great extent they're going to mitigate them. Even omega-3 supplements help in pain. If you have joint pain, or if you have pain due to inflammation, they help. So yeah, I mean, food with protein, I think every meal should have at least like 40% protein, whether it's a vegetarian source or a non-vegetarian source. But protein is very, very important for rebuilding all the cells of your body. uh, that's really, it's not that complicated as we think it is. It's just basically eating healthy and you know uh, compensating for whatever that you're not getting through your food with supplements.
What about the little cravings? What do you do with that?
Dark chocolate? Are we talking about sugar cravings?
Guilty pleasures.
Yeah, dark chocolate's supposed to be good for menopause.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's a good tip, actually. I think
Yes.
keep it handy for when I would need it, maybe.
It's not good to deprive yourself in menopause, because you're already going through so much of emotional and mental turmoil. So if you are craving, it's perfectly fine to have a small piece of chocolate or whatever that you're craving. As long as it's a small piece, it's perfectly fine.
Right.
I mean, you just don't want to kill yourself over not eating something and feeling worse about it, right? I mean, if food is therapeutic, have it, but in control. Simple as that.
Yeah, a little more talk on food and I might actually want to eat something. So let's move on to talking about workouts. Yeah. Okay. Sneha, when it comes to workouts, everyone tries to, they try. Most of them, at least the ones, at least me for that matter. We try to stick on to a routine that we're most comfortable with. So there are different styles in yoga practice, right? So when there are different styles in yoga practice, is there a curated style that might best help women through different stages of menopause, or in managing their symptoms from day to day?
Got it. Ideally, yoga in general does help, to work on the symptoms, but I think a specifically curated course for menopause is going to help them more, because we are going to target, like I mentioned earlier as well, we're going to target certain symptoms and certain parts of the body which are going to help them. My personal suggestion to every woman out there would be Hatha Yoga, because that's the simplest form of yoga. That's the base of yoga, right? So not trying the fancy forms like power or vinyasa or ashtanga, like it's not about how much or how, how difficult postures you're able to do in yoga. It is only about, kind of finding the balance where, how far your body is comfortable with a particular posture. So specifically curated class is really going to help them, work around, symptoms of, like we've spoken about, hot flashes or insomnia or anxiety, where maybe we will target your thyroid gland, maybe we'll target your abdominal organs or the reproductive system. And also a mix of restorative yoga. Like restorative yoga is going to play a very important role on the mental aspect. Happy hormones are so important. We all know that, right? So they're going to help you release the happy hormones as well. So yes, definitely a yes for specifically curated yoga course for menopause. If you can find a teacher like that, nothing like it. In general, yoga does help, but there, you have certain limitations as well, right? Certain limitations when it comes to body as well. For a lot of women, they might not be able to do certain forms of yoga or certain postures in hatha as well. So you can, maybe have a restorative part just for yourself to work on yourself.
On that note, Julie, every woman experiences menopause differently. That's like a universal fact that we have all time and again been reminded of. How can women discover a workout or a style of yoga, like Sneha mentioned, that's best suited for their needs? How do they go about this journey of making that ideal workout regime for themselves that they can follow through the menopause journey? From your experience, how did you go about designing one for yourself?
So honestly, Meghna, that there's never going to be an ideal standard routine, right? I mean, every woman needs to figure out for herself what works for her. I know a lot of women who are not able to do yoga because they just don't want to give it that much amount of time. So the ideal routine is what you figure out for yourself, what makes you feel great at the end of it. There is no rule around it. So I think women need to just experiment with what, even if going and doing salsa works for them, then that is what they need to do. So there is no ideal definition to it. Yes, the fact being that when you're doing yoga or when you're doing strength training, you are also sort of building, you're working on your muscles or you're building your bone mass density. But to a great extent, you also have to figure out what makes you feel mentally better. That 1 hour has to be very therapeutic. It has to be very cathartic, where at the end of it, you feel good about it. So it could be anything, like Sneha mentioned, that you might choose to do. So I honestly, can't really define something. I just happened to discover, because I always used to work out, so it sort of helped me carry on that even post my surgery. So, and I really want to tell, since we are on this topic, what I want to say is, don't wait till you hit perimenopause or menopause to work out. Even if you're in your 30s, please start it now, because if you start now, you're probably going to have better control on your symptoms when you actually hit perimenopause. So the sooner you start, the better it is. That's ideally what I would say.
Noted. On that note, yoga poses. Now, let's say we all need a holistic approach when it comes to dealing with menopause and its symptoms. And we spoke so much about yoga. Also, on that note, Sneha, can you tell us more? You were talking about certain poses that were good for emotional changes, for your for your physiological changes and your physical changes.
Right.
Could you shine light on more such poses that could help with different symptoms?
Yeah, I would pick up specific postures that will work both on physiological and psychological aspect. Let's start with the psychological aspect. Depression is also, kind of
Yes, one of
a
the
big deal. Yeah. And especially with pandemic hitting and all of it, it's even more worse. So I think, doing the breathing exercises and maybe a little bit of meditation. Meditation is not about just, sitting and trying to focus hard. You're not able to focus, but, just trying to push yourself or being hard on yourself. Just sit there for a while, observe your thoughts maybe, and just know yourself better. And, that's going to help you bring in more mindfulness to daily life. And mindfulness eventually will help you, respond to situations better. That's what it is about. And, in a way, this meditation can help you. Coming to specific breathing exercises, it's like energizing breathing exercises are really important. Say, for example, Kapalbhati, that's the skull shining technique, or Bhastrika, the bellows breath, because they're going to energize the body and the mind both, and that will help you alleviate depression, anxiety, your fear, maybe your worries. When it comes to, or maybe insomnia, or you haven't been sleeping well, you're waking up early, etc. I think Brahmari Pranayama, that's the humming deep breath, one of the best breathing exercises. But I've been focusing on, like consistency. Consistency is the key. So to be honest, I'm not at that age where I might hit menopause soon, but I've had certain health issues, but I've really been able to manage all of them well with, what I'm talking about, like maybe the breathing exercises or the physical postures. So I think go give it a try, guys. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this out, go give it a try to the breathing exercises. Coming to specific postures, maybe symptoms like hot flashes, or maybe the sweats that you have, you can try the reclining bound angle pose. It's it could be, it's just like lying down on your back, and that's a, like you do a seated butterfly, you just need to lie down on your back and then get your foot together. That's the reclining bound angle pose. And then you have a downward dog position. That's almost an inversion, gives you, similar effects like that of an inversion. And then you can do Setu Bandhasana, that's called as your bridge pose, which will work on your thyroid gland. And, you can do Prasarita Padottanasana, that's a seated, standing forward fold. So these postures are going to help you work on, hot flashes, etc. But apart from that, I also spoke earlier about, the restorative part of yoga. That's also really important. So maybe try doing postures like Janu Shirshasana or Paschimottanasana, or as simple as child's pose. There are times when we are not able to manage our emotions well, and especially, you went it out, to maybe your family, or, especially it comes back home after a stressful day of work. So I would say child's pose is one of the best postures, if you're trying to manage your emotions better and if you're in this stage of your life. So yeah, these are a few postures that will help you work through both physical and psychological aspects of menopause.
For all those people who are watching this and thought it was fast, it's going to be on our social media platform. You can always hear her out, or you can reach out to us with all your questions and they will answer it to you right now. You can in fact start sending in your questions. I hope that's okay with you both. People are sending in questions already, and I think we will have to talk about that in a bit. On that note, I'd like to know, thanks so much, firstly, Sneha, for the wonderful tips and the yoga asanas that you mentioned. I'm sure many will use it. Julie, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Julie, why don't you, what advice would you like to give to women to navigate through menopause?
So yeah, Meghna, the most important thing and the reason why I started advocating or talking about menopause is because I think a lot of women continue to suffer or go through all the symptoms and not talk about it. And that's the first most important thing that I want to say is that, please prioritize yourself. Please talk about it. If you are suffering, if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, please do not look at it as symptoms of aging and then, nothing can be done about it. That's not what it is. There are a lot of ways to take care of this and make life better. It is also, very important for women to understand that, it's no more a taboo topic, it's a normal transition in life, a transition which is inevitable. And, the more we speak about it, the more we'll normalize it. It's very important that you communicate with your family about it, because they are not going to understand what is happening with you unless you talk about it. Your family might think you're constantly irritated, depressed, not interested, but they do not really know what's happening to you. So it's your responsibility that you speak to them, you communicate to them that you are undergoing this, this is the change that is happening in your body, and that's why you're feeling the way you are, and hence, you need that support. Because I know of a lot of women who are going through depression, who are going through anxiety, and they aren't able to talk about it, and they don't know where to reach out for help. So even if you need to reach out for help and go to a counselor, do it, because it doesn't make sense to continue suffering. It's not a disease, it's not going to last lifelong. It's just a support that you need while you're going through that transitioning phase. So do speak about it, and do prioritize yourself. I think even if women give 30 minutes of a day to themselves in their daily routine, it's of great help. And yes, journaling helps to a great deal. So if you have nobody to talk to, write it down. It's worked great wonders for me. I'm sure it will help most other women who might be going through the entire psychological turmoil.
Nice. Also, can you tell us a little bit about your passion project?
Yeah. So Live Fearless was started basically with the aim, to educate and get more conversations happening around menopause. So when I landed into a surgical menopause at the age of 37 and I started looking for information, I realized, there's no structured information out there, and I didn't know where to reach out for information, honestly, or what to expect out of my body. And me being from a healthcare sort of a background, professionally, I started researching a lot into it. I kept reading a lot. I kept reading research papers. I kept reading whatever information was there. I started studying, under the British Menopause Society to sort of understand what happens in menopause and how can it be worked around with and how can it be transitioned. And then I sort of realized that, if I'm collecting so much of information, why not just share it with as many women as possible and, sort of get them to spread the awareness and proactively start taking care of their health so that, this transition is smooth. And that's essentially how Live Fearless was born.
Nice, really nice. Thanks for that insight. So guys, you know where to find Julie on the social media, you know where to find her. She's on Instagram. So is Sneha. Sneha, would you also like to tell us where people can find you if they have a lot more queries and they'd like to reach out to you directly? Otherwise, they are writing to us and we can move on to questions in a bit.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is Sneha with a double A _ Midha, MIDHA. And please drop in any queries. I'll be more than happy to help you. I would just add on to, Julie's suggestion. Journaling, yes, it does help to a great extent. Maybe try having a gratitude journal, gratitude for all that you're grateful for, as simple as a healthy meal or a hot water shower, maybe. And it starts helping you feel a lot more better. And start taking out time for yourself, because it's really important. If you don't love yourself, don't love your body the way it is, I think you will not be able to extend it to your family, to your loved ones, and the life that you're leading currently, maybe at work, the productivity wouldn't be as great. So start journaling and start to be a little more grateful. And please reach out to me on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Nice. Thank you so much. Now we have some questions. We have a question from Anita, and this is to Julie. She'd like to ask, how can I reduce belly fat that's caused due to menopause? I've been struggling with that. How can I reduce my belly fat? What would you like to say?
Belly fat spot reduction does not happen, honestly. You're not going to be able to reduce fat around your belly just like that. You're going to have to reduce overall fat in your body. Begin with portion control and go for strength training. Strength training helps because whether it's yoga, whether it's gym, when you build muscles, you burn more fat. So remember that when you have more muscles, your metabolism is also, active in the resting stage. So that's why it's important that, you strength train and build those muscles. And your belly fat is not going to reduce with spot reduction. You just have to, reduce overall weight. So portion control will really help you feel less bloated. And that itself will make you realize that, your stomach's feeling better and flatter. So I hope that helps, honestly.
So thank you for that. And now there's a question for Sneha, and this is from Anupa. Anupa writes all the way from Bangalore, and she wants to know, how can I prepare for menopause? She asks how to prepare for menopause. What are the things I need to do, is what she said.
I think to start with, take small steps. Maybe start looking at your diet. What is it like? We've spoken about diet also in this chat. Maybe the fruits or the proteins that we were talking about, or the calcium that we spoke of. And then also, if you haven't started working out regularly, do little stuff that help you feel good. It could be maybe yoga, could be dancing, aerobics, swimming, cycling, and start with the little things, and then maybe have bigger goals. 10 minutes to begin with is good to go. And then you can start with, like a diet, yoga, or physical activity. And that's about it in my view.
So we also have another question for you from Sushila. She says that she's suffering from urinary incontinence and stress management. She's struggling with stress management. She'd like to know if there are some natural ways to deal with it. She doesn't want to take medicines.
Got it. Yeah. There are certain techniques in yogas. They're generally called as bandhas, and that's meant to be a mula bandha, basically, wherein if I talk it in general terms, it would be like you're just trying to maybe sit and squeeze your pelvic floor muscles, and that's really going to help you strengthen the pelvic floor muscles. Or if you're coming across UTIs, any kind of a disorder, that's happening around the reproductive system or the urinary system, I think these bandhas are going to help you a great deal. However, if you aren't sure, I would recommend you to reach out to me on Instagram or reach out to any other expert who really knows stuffs. I think there were two stuffs that she wanted to know about. One was this, Meghna. What was the other one?
What
Stress
is
management.
urinary incontinence?
Yeah,
So
that's what we spoke of.
that
And the
would
other
be
one was
mostly to
stress
do with the
management.
uterine health per se. How can she improvise on that?
Yeah, so like I said, that she can work around contracting the pelvic floor muscles or strengthening the reproductive system in general. You can try doing butterfly posture as well, apart from squeezing the pelvic floor muscles. That's going to work on strengthening your uterus walls and your pelvic floor girdle. You can do squats as well. That's called as malasana, like sitting there and focusing on your breath. That's again gonna work through the same system. Um, and yeah, these are the couple of postures that you can really work through. And coming to stress management, right, Meghna?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was
So
struggling
for,
with stress management. So what would you suggest that she do?
Mhm. For stress management, try out, doing the breathing exercises because the more you focus on your breath, what happens generally is, say, for example, if you're listening to me right now, you just take a deep breath in. The moment you start taking a deep breath in and you really focus on your breath, all the other thoughts that are unnecessary would really vanish. And that's what it is about. So the moment you start doing that, so stress happens when you're constantly maybe thinking about a particular thing or you're stressing about a particular thing and you're unable to switch that off, yeah, from the mind. So you just sit and focus on maybe gentle breathing. Either it could be as simple as Anuloma, Viloma, or Nadi Shuddhi Pranayam. Or if you do not know any of it or you haven't started practicing these stuff, just sit, close your eyes, and maybe start focusing on your breath. And all that I would want you to do is just cut off from everything else and just focus on your breath, and that will help you manage your stress better. Apart from that, meditative techniques also help. You have guided meditations as well online, so maybe you can check out YouTube, or if you are looking for anything specific, you can let me know. Yeah, try out the meditative techniques as well apart from these stuffs. Yeah, but yeah, maybe a walk if you are not somebody who would want to go for physical activity like yoga or maybe aerobics or dancing. Maybe just walk, or that'll help you feel a little more relaxed. You'll feel relaxed in the mind. So yeah.
There are a lot of takeaways from today's conversation. Thanks so much for that, Sneha. That's very insightful. Subhashini from Bangalore, I think she's writing to Julie. She's asking Julie, rather. She has a question for you. She is struggling with depression, and she says some days she feels very low. And now she asks, did you feel low, or do you feel low? Are there days when you feel low during your journey, your menopause journey? How did you deal with it? I mean, she's probably trying to look for what she can take away and how she can help herself with depression.
So yes, there are times when I do feel low. There are times when I behave unpredictable. There are times when I get irritated at my kids for no reason. And I consciously try to, and that's the most important thing, being conscious. The minute you start consciously reading your emotions, you are able to sort of know your triggers, or you're able to control them better. So depression can happen as a part of this journey because of the hormonal changes. Now there are basic ways to deal with it, like we are all talking about here today, and like Sneha mentioned, meditation or yoga or workout. All of these things do work for people. Talk to somebody, talk to your friend, or try and detach yourself from the problem for that amount of time. But I also realized that, a lot journaling again, if you can try. But there are also a lot of people who aren't able to deal with it, and it is perfectly okay to reach out to a counselor and talk to them. It's a phase. It's not like you're going to, you're depressed and you're going to a doctor and, oh my God, how can I go to a doctor and talk about this? Am I going mad or not? It's nothing of that sort. If you think all of these things that we have spoken about right now are not working for you, and, you are experiencing extreme emotions, where you're really, really depressed, it's affecting your food, it's affecting your sleep, it's affecting your relationships, it's perfectly okay to speak to somebody, to reach out for support, or talk to women who are in a similar sort of age group and who are going through the same thing. It's a phase and it will go. If you're thinking that you're going to if you're thinking you're going to remain depressed for the rest of your life, that's not going to happen. Okay, so you just have to keep telling yourself this is just a phase, it's going to pass and it's going to get better. So that's what I do. That's what works for me. And the other thing that I've realized is keeping yourself extremely busy, because you're so busy all day that end of the day you're just tired and you want to go to sleep. So I tell that to a lot of women, if you're feeling depressed, keep yourself busy all day. So do try, or else do look for professional help.
On that note, it has been a wonderful session today. I hope we have enjoyed having you both on our show today, and it has been very insightful. Thank you so much for being a part of our show. I hope both of you enjoyed it as well.
Very much, Meghna.
Thanks for having us. Meghna. Thank you.